It's really interesting. The world at the moment seems really hungry for Christianity, not just Christianity, but like what Catholicism has to offer. Like the Shroud of Turin seems to
Yeah.
come out of nowhere. Some out of nowhere. You did the interview with Matt Fradd. Joe Rogan's been talking about it. It's on the Daily
I
Wire,
know.
and then it's absolutely everywhere. People are talking about the Shroud. People are converting to Catholicism. Big names. What do you think
Yes.
this is all
Yeah.
coming together for some reason, or?
Well, I've been praying about this. This year is a jubilee, and I think we underestimate the power of grace that is dispensed in a jubilee year. But I've noticed it, and it seems disproportionate. It seems extra, and of course, there was in Turin a special effort as well during this jubilee year um, to draw eyes to the shroud and through it to Jesus Christ. And I think you're right. I think that conversion is the miracle more than healings of. I've not heard of that if it's the case with I don't know, cancer patients or people with wounds from fires or something being touched by the shroud. I've not seen that, but I have seen the biggest mountain move, which is the human will, the human soul. And the shroud often occasions that because it puts Jesus and his paschal mystery, his dying and his rising, in the fore. And when you talk about Christ and when you bring the gospel, um, there's the power of heaven behind that. And it's you're right though to say that there's something special about this time. I've been doing this for 15 years probably. It's hard to quantify exactly, but presenting on the shroud through our museum, I have never seen the kind of reaction, the kind of enthusiasm. It seems as though this has been brewing. Things have reached a kind of critical mass, and now it's exploding on the internet. And what an opportunity is there! I just hope that we can rise to the occasion and
Mm.
equip more people, especially young people, with the knowledge of our faith. And in that time, we shouldn't miss that opportunity.
Yeah, there was. I agree with the sentiment. It's something that like I don't know if anxious is the right word, but like I don't want to miss out because there was the reports that in the UK and in France, I believe, maybe Paris, there was the biggest number of catechumens this Easter, and they were saying like right after Pope Francis's funeral, there was this massive outpouring of like people actually not just seeking Christianity, not just seeking like a kind of philosophy, but seeking Catholicism, and
Yeah.
which, I mean, it's easy to just put it in Catholicism in the religion box, but it's not just that, is it? It's there's something about Catholicism that's much bigger than as you would view other religions, and I think because
Yeah.
we have things like the shroud.
I think that's part of it for sure. But I mean, you're right to say that we sit on a treasure trove that we ourselves have not appreciated nearly
Mm.
enough. Catholicism, I do share your sentiment that using that language almost waters it down because Catholicism is nothing other than the kingdom of Christ on earth as it is in heaven. That's what the Catholic Church, with its beliefs, with its hierarchy, with its teachings, with its sacraments, with its sacramentals, right? All that we have is part of that grand story that God rules the worlds, and he does so as King of David and King of Israel as Son of God. And I think you're right to say that the shroud points to Christ the King. And there's something larger than life. There's something beyond whatever like factoid kind of gets you in the door. And let's face it, with the shroud, there's plenty of minutia that's exciting and compelling and puzzling and intriguing. Whatever gets you in the door, that doesn't exhaust all of its mystique, does it? It's like someone who says, "Ooh, let's look at the immunology studies or the studies of photonegativity, or pick your area of shroud science," and then it's like just keep pulling on that thread, and where does it go?
Mm.
In the retelling of the story of the God Man who took flesh to die a redeeming death and then reign from the cross, rise to glory, the one who's with us in the Eucharist. So all of that is there, if you just keep tugging on it. And so the shroud is the shroud is an occasion to share the gospel. That's why the shroud is so powerful.
Yeah, it's. I was just talking about this with William from Oz. It's like he gave us a whole bunch of facts. Like one of the things we were talking about is how the clots remained intact on the shroud, and I was like, that's super
Mhm.
interesting. Especially, I have a medical background. I'm an emergency nurse, and thinking about wound care and stuff. It's interesting, but
Yes.
how do you communicate that to somebody that's just the average Joe? But like you said, there's always something else. Like, I mean, I am also interested in photography, and you got the photo negatives, the whole story about
Right.
the how that came about initially, and it's I think what's really amazing about it is the Catholic Church is universal, and so is the shroud. There is something
Hmm.
in it for absolutely everyone, and it's all coming down to
That's
this
right.
one point, which is Jesus. And it's such a
Yeah.
great analogy of like just life, that the Catholic
Right.
Church teaches. Like this is the cornerstone, Jesus, and from that everyone can come into it.
That's it. And there's something surprising about that. For me, I remember being in Hong Kong several years ago before COVID, and I was asked to speak at like the 29th floor of some JP Morgan. It had nothing to do with a church. It wasn't. I think I was the only Catholic in the room, but I was invited to share on the shroud, and I was like, okay, not sure how this audience is going to go, and yet everyone was as interested as if I were in a Catholic church. And it was eye opening to me to realize that this is look, if I give a homily more than 7 minutes, people start to look at their watches in America, especially, right? But you can't go long enough when it comes to unpacking the passion, death, and resurrection of Jesus in light of the shroud. I've just experienced it for years on end in so many cultures and different languages. It's the same. People are thirsty for it. And I think it's because it's a different inroad into that same story. It's kind of like when you're in the Holy Land. For those who've made a pilgrimage, they'll know exactly what I mean. There's something special about being in the place, touching with your hands, seeing with your eyes, walking the same seashore as Jesus in the Sea of Galilee, for example.